Did anyone ever respond to that email?
Yes, they did, numerous times.
Sorry.
Hunter Biden himself did.
Excuse me. You're right.
Well, no, I think that's important because Hunter Biden has claimed that he didn't respond to it, and he responded to it, I believe,
You're just going to
times.
filibuster. I reclaim my time that's running out, but I will say no one responded to the big guy reference for 10.
Thank you for making my point. They didn't have to respond because they all knew the big guy was Joe Biden.
I reclaim my time. Mr. Chairman, please control the witness. I would like to I only have 5 minutes, Mr. Bobulinski, so I'm going to try to move quickly, and I'd appreciate if you just answer the questions. You testified that Joe Biden was involved in your business venture related to Oneida Holdings and Hunter Biden. So I want to drill down on the crux of what your testimony is. Oneida Holdings is the business venture that you are referring to, correct?
When I'm referring to what? Can you
any business you did with the Bidens?
My reference is the Sinohawk Holdings LLC, and Oneida Holdings LLC owned 50% of that.
Right. And Oneida Holdings was the 50% that was on the American side of that Sinohawk deal, right?
It was the 50% that was the Biden side of it. Some of the, James Gilliar is not an American, so.
Sorry, fair enough. And it was a joint partnership memorialized in an incorporating document, correct? And it had equal shares divided among 5 partners. Is that right?
Well, I can't.
Well,
are you asking me about what you're holding up? Because
sir, was it an equal? Were there equal 20% shares among 5 partners?
In what?
Oneida Holdings.
In the final signed documents?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
It is?
It's not complicated.
Well, it is because.
All right, you're just filibustering now. The answer is you're filibustering. I get it. That there were 5 partners: Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, Rob Walker, James Gilliar, and you. Each owned 20%. Do you?
Well, they didn't each own. Their LLCs owned it, which is a material difference.
Do you see Joe Biden or an LLC related to Joe Biden on this?
I don't know if Joe Biden owned any of Jim Biden's LLC or Hunter Biden's LLC. I'll leave that up to the committee.
Okay. And do you know when this agreement was entered into?
The poster board that you're holding up, or the actual legal document that was signed?
The agreement, sir.
The agreement.
The agreement was signed May 22nd, 2017. Who was the vice president then?
May 22nd, you said? I think it was Mike Pence.
And who was the president?
Donald Trump.
Okay. And when did you first meet Hunter Biden?
I first met Hunter Biden in early 2017.
When? When in 2017?
A day or
the month.
An hour?
The month is good.
A month? I believe I briefly met him in New York, but I spent the first meeting I had extensive time with him was in early May 2017.
Okay, and that was around the same time that you had those 2 meetings with Joe Biden, right?
It was, but prior to that, I had numerous discussions with Hunter.
You have said
I had lawyers working through the documents that you're
Can I please reclaim my time, sir? As I said, we have to move quickly here. Unfortunately, in your testimony earlier today, one of my colleagues asked you about that meeting at the bar, 45 minutes to 60 minutes. And you were also asked about that in your transcribed interview. And in neither of your answers did you mention any discussion that you had at that meeting with Joe Biden about the Chinese business venture. Yet, in grandiose terms here today, you have declared that Joe Biden was involved and that you have mountains of irrefutable evidence to support it. So let's look at the mountains of irrefutable evidence. You provided the committee with a screenshot of a text message that is between James Gilliard and you, dated May 11th, 2017. You see this? I don't know if you can see it. If you can't see, it's just you and James Gilliard, though, right? You remember this text message, I'm sure.
Generally, yes.
All right. And in it, Gilliard writes, "Man, you are right. Let's get the company set up, then tell H and family the high stakes and get Joe involved." And 2 days later, Mr. Gilliar sent an email to you, CCing Rob Walker and Hunter Biden, in which he suggested a division of the company and included a proposal of, quote, 10% held by H for the big guy, question mark. You remember that, right?
The infamous email with the big guy? Yes, yeah. I do.
Did anyone ever respond to that email?
Yes, they did, numerous times.
Sorry.
Hunter
Did anyone
Biden
ever-
himself did.
Excuse me. You're right.
Well, no, I
Did
think
anyone
that's
e-
important because
Sir,
Hunter
did anyone
Biden has
ever
claimed that he didn't
Can you answer my
respond to it,
questions?
and he responded to
Okay.
it, I believe,
You're just
3
going to
times.
filibuster. I reclaim my time that's running out, but I will say no one responded to the big guy reference for 10.
Thank you
So
for making my
what-
point. They didn't have to respond
Right.
because
And
they
then,
all knew the big
sir,
guy was Joe
I
Biden.
reclaim my time. Mr. Chairman, please control the witness. I would like to get a little extra time, Mr. Chairman, because I want to read what Mr. Gilliar said to the Wall Street Journal. Quote, I would like to clear up any speculation that former Vice President was involved with the 2017 discussions about our potential business structure. I am unaware of any involvement at any time of the former Vice President. The activity in question never delivered and project revenue. 9 days later, the agreement without Joe Biden was signed. You and James Gilliar wanted Joe Biden involved, and that is why Hunter Biden dumped you and did the business
That's a
on his
blatant
own.
lie,
And
Mr.
I yield
Goldman. You
back.
know better.
Chairman's time's expired.
I yield to Mr. Goldman.
Thank you very much, Ms. Presley. I want to get back to this photograph here that I got cut off from before. You, Mr. Bobulinski, called a number of people liars, 6 FBI agents.
I did not
the
call
Wall
this
Street-
as 6 FBI agents
Sir,
liars.
I'm talking. If you go to page
Well, you know better, Mr. Goldman.
Okay, go to page 174 of the transcript, and you said it's not an accurate statement. It's a lie related to an FBI report.
I didn't call them
Sorry,
liars.
I don't
The
have time.
statement
Be
is a lie.
quiet. Now, this is a photo that was provided by Cassidy Hutchinson after you called her a liar when she said that you met with Mark Meadows and received an envelope. Do you see this photo? Do you acknowledge that is Mark Meadows in the red hat?
Didn't you tell me to be quiet? I don't.
I asked the question, do you acknowledge that that's Mark Meadows?
Maybe your person can walk it closer so I can see it.
Mr. Chairman, would you indulge, just since he's not answering the question,
you're
he's
15
filibustering?
seconds over, but
Yeah.
it may
Well,
see
let
if
me
he
just
can-
ask it very briefly. Is that you and Mr. Meadows buy Secret Service cars with you in a mask?
Are you kidding, Mr. Goldman? I'm sitting 20 feet away from it.
Go
It's
up to
pitch
him,
black.
please. Go
All right,
right up to
and
him.
your time's expired. Maybe Mr. Swalwell will give
could-
you some time.
Could he just answer the question?
He can
whether
answer the
that's-
question, right?
So what I see in this picture is a Secret Service agent 5 feet from me with a full mask on, and a Secret Service agent sitting in a Cadillac Escalade with all the windows up with a full mask on.
Is that
So you're
you
making it a
talking
big
to
deal.
the person in the red hat?
It's the back of his head. I don't.
Is that you talking to the
Why don't
person
you ask
in the
me
red
this,
hat?
Mr. Goldman? Did I meet Mr. Meadows at a Trump rally in
Answer
Rome,
the
Georgia? I
question.
did. I acknowledge
Is
that.
it you?
Mr.
Oh, you do?
Goldman.
I did.
Mr.
Of
Goldman,
course I did.
But Cassidy Hutchinson is a liar.
Cassidy
Thank
Hutchinson's
you. I
a
yield
liar
back.
because
Time
she
has
said
expired.
that he handed me an envelope. Mr. Meadows didn't give me a single thing.
Chair now recognizes Mr. Donalds from Florida for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. It's been an interesting hearing so far. Let's actually get to the actual paper trail of money flow from the CEFC into the bank account for President Joe Biden. And I want to start with a text message, July 31, WhatsApp text message between Hunter Biden and one Mr. Zhao. Real quick, Mr. Bobulinski, who is Mr. Zhao?
Congressman Donalds, I'd just actually like to spend 20 seconds. If you noticed, Congressman Khanna scurried out of here very quickly, and I'm actually disgusted as I sit here that he didn't address me based on the fact that I'm sitting here in front of the world trying to testify to the truth. In October 2020, I have messages I'm willing to produce to both the Democrats and the Republicans that Ro Khanna sent to me saying, you have always demonstrated to me that you're nothing but an honest with the highest integrity individual, and I was begging for him to go on CNN and tell the world in October 2020. I have extensive emails with Congressman Ro Khanna in 2021 and 2022 where I begged him and his staff to sit down with me and look at my BlackBerry phones that the Democrats are so focused on, to hire forensics experts and go through all of the factual information I had. So the fact that he did not even address me and then scurried out of here is disgusting to me.
All right.
Sorry, Mr. Donalds. I'll answer your question now.
All right, so we're gonna have to come off of that because now we're at 3 minutes 30 seconds. Mr. Chairman, for the record, I want to submit into the record two different WhatsApp text messages. One, July 31, between Hunter Biden and Mr. Zhao of CEFC, which stipulates that Hunter Biden wants to be able to move on from and get the contract resolved, get the deal resolved, and that Mr. Zhao responds and says, yes, the CEFC is willing to cooperate with the family. On August 31, there's another exchange, this time August 3rd, 2017, between Hunter Biden and Mr. Ganwei Dong. And in this message, they're talking about the stipulations of the arrangement between the Biden family and CEFC. I want to submit both WhatsApp text messages for the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection to order.
Okay, now to the money flow, because this is where the rubber meets the road. On August 3rd, they actually stipulate through WhatsApp text messages the exact stipulations of the deal. On August 4th, $100,000 is wired into Owasco PC from CEFC infrastructure. Mr. Chairman, I want to submit for the record a portion of the bank statement for the time period August 3rd of 2017 to August 31, 2017, stipulating $100,000 going from CEFC into the bank account of Hunter Biden through Owasco PC.
Without objection to order.
On August 8th, 4 days later, $5 million is then transferred from the Northern International Capital account of $5 million to Hudson West III. Hudson West III is a bank account controlled by Hunter Biden and Mr. Ganwei, a.k.a. Kevin Dong, who is a CEFC associate. That money comes from the Northern International Capital bank account that is tied to the CCP. Mr. Chairman, I want to submit for the record the bank statement demonstrating that transfer.
Without objection to order.
Okay, moving on. On August 8th, the same time period, there is a wire transfer of $400,000 to Owasco PC from the Hudson West III bank account. That $400,000, Mr. Chairman, I have the transfer records in the bank accounts from the August time period. I want to submit that for the record.
Without objection to order.
Now, here's where the fun stuff comes in, everybody, and I got a minute to do it, so we're going to get this done. On August 14, there is $150,000 that is transferred from Owasco PC, which is controlled by Hunter Biden, to Lion Hall Group, which is controlled by James Biden. I have the records here, Mr. Chairman, of the $150,000 that has gone to Lion Hall Group from Owasco PC. I want to submit that for the record.
Without objection to order.
On August 28th, and I believe we have a screenshot for everybody in the room. On August 28th, Mr. Chairman, we have the withdrawal ticket from Lion Hall Group that is signed by Sarah Biden, who is the wife of Jim Biden, for $50,000 to withdraw from Lion Hall Group. I want to submit that withdrawal receipt for the record.
Without objection to order.
On September 3rd, on August 28th, actually, Mr. Chairman, we have the deposit reference into Sarah Jones Biden's account on the same day she withdrew it from Lion Hall. I want to submit that from the record.
Without objection to order.
Last document. On September 3rd, 2007, from Sarah Biden's own personal account, there is a check that is written to Joseph Robinette Biden, Jr., the President of the United States today, for $40,000, signed loan repayment. A loan repayment, by the way, that Joe Biden's own personal accountant, Mr. Eric Schwerin, has no record for. I want to submit that for the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection to order.
To the members of the committee, it is clear that the source of this money came from CEFC, and that CEFC is a company that is directly linked to the CCP and actually the chairman of the CCP, the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party, Chairman Xi Jinping. With that, I yield.
Chair recognizes Lisa McClain for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start off by saying I think most Americans are taught at a very young age that you are who you surround yourself with. I think keep that in a premise as I sat here and listened to everyone talk about how Hunter Biden is just this golden boy. I mean, are we really supposed to believe that Hunter Biden is the golden boy? His associates, such as Jason Galanis and Devin Archer, are felons convicted of fraud, yet he is the golden child. I want to talk about examples of Biden's influence peddling scheme. This time, it was Romania. It follows the same general pattern as we have seen with other countries like China, Russia, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan. Here's the pattern. It's really simple. A corrupt foreign oligarch needs access to the U.S. government. Hunter Biden sells influence to the U.S. government. The oligarchs pay up. So let's just take a deeper dive into this Romanian scheme. Mr. Bobulinski, who is Gabriel Popovich?
Gabriel Popovich is a businessman from Romania, probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars, I'd envision.
Okay. Is it true that Gabriel Popovich faced corruption charges in Romania in 2015?
It is.
Thank you. And when you were in Europe with the Bidens to close on that CEFC deal with the Chinese, you separately negotiated with Popovich to get a 17th payment. Is that also correct?
I did.
Okay. But Popovich did not want to pay him. Is that correct?
Correct. You're talking about a 17th payment that would go to Rob Walker, and then Rob Walker would distribute to Hunter Biden.
That is correct. And is it because Hunter Biden had failed in the work he was engaged by Popovich to do, which was to get the corruption charges dismissed by the Romanian authorities? Isn't that correct?
Well, it's two things, that they had failed to do that, but also that Joe Biden had left the White House at that point.
Okay, so there's a dot. So I get 16 payments while Joe Biden's in the White House.
Correct.
But after Joe Biden leaves the White House, coincidentally, the payments stop.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure that we can connect the dots very simply.
But obviously wasn't a coincidence.
Right, I'm not much for coincidences, which neither are the American people. But Mr. Bobulinski, what do you think Popovich wanted Hunter Biden to do?
I don't have to think, because Gabriel told me personally he expected, and didn't want the details, he expected Hunter Biden, Rob Walker, and James Gillier to do whatever was necessary to impact his case in Romania.
But how do you know that?
Because Gabriel Popovich told me that?
From his mouth?
Yes.
Okay, so there's another dot that we can connect. Would that be a conspiracy theory?
That's not a conspiracy theory.
Okay, thank you.
I would encourage you to interview Gabriel Popovich.
Thank you. Lastly, after claiming he wanted a public hearing, Hunter Biden decided to skip today. Why do you think he skipped the hearing today?
Is that a rhetorical or serious? Well, I don't think he wanted to sit next to me, because obviously I've emphatically stated he perjured himself in his transcribed interview with the committee, as did his uncle, Jim Biden. And for every fact he claims or wants to say I was high on drugs or obfuscate, I can show a document, a text message, a recording that is confirmed that he's lying.
Well, let's not let the facts get in the way of a good story, right? Here are the facts.
Highly disappointing that he's not here, though.
I would agree. Here are the facts. Hunter Biden was engaged by a foreign principal, Gabriel Popovich. It is well known that Hunter Biden met with the ambassador to Romania, Hans Klem, in November of 2015. Hunter Biden was not registered under FARA. He stopped getting paid as soon as his father leaves office until you got Popovich to send Hunter Biden one more payment. Seriously, what services was Hunter Biden providing to the Romanian oligarchs for millions of dollars? We've yet to hear it. As far as the committee knows, Hunter Biden was never registered under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. If the Department of Justice applied the same standards it did in the Paul Manafort case, Hunter would be in more trouble than he is already in. Mr. Chairman, there are real FARA issues here that we need to continue to look at. And with that, I thank you for being here, and I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good job. Chair now recognizes Ms. Ocasio-Cortez from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Bobulinski, I heard your opening statement. It's submitted to the record, part of our proceedings. I have a quick question. Simple. Is it your testimony today that you personally witnessed President Joe Biden commit a crime?
I believe the fact that he was sitting with me while I was putting together a business
Did you
deal-
witness the
but-
president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime. Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO and conspiracy.
What is it?
FARA.
What is the crime, sir?
You
Specifically.
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me,
statutes,
sir. Excuse me,
FARA.
sir. Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime. It is a category. What is
know.
the
It's a category of crimes that you're then charged
You
under
have charges.
A long 100
You
list
have
of statutes.
charges. Sir, please
You want me to name the exact statute
Sir,
under RICO?
yes.
Well, it's funny. In this committee room, everyone's not here. There's over 18
All right, sir. I reclaim my time.
lawyers that
I
went to
reclaim
law
my
school.
time. I
I'll leave
reclaim
it
my
up
time.
to you guys
Okay,
to
thank
define
you,
the
sir. I
statute
reclaim my
under
time.
RICO.
Clearly, what we are seeing here today is a continuation of the 15-month saga of the Republican majority lost in the desert. Impeachment 101. The majority party, or whomever is raising impeachment, must accuse the president of a high crime, a specific high crime or misdemeanor. I would like to submit to the record HRES 918, the House resolution to open this impeachment inquiry.
Without objection to order.
This resolution does not outline a high crime or misdemeanor. It's not here. Now, when we compare the chairman's opening from his previous opening, he's talking about Ukraine and Burisma and all of this. This entire inquiry is based on a blockbuster piece of information that was in a classified SCIF room. And inside that room was a document alleging President Biden directly of a $10 million bribery scheme, a $10 million bribery scheme, extremely serious. What happened? What happened a month ago, Mr. Chairman? That document, the FBI arrested the person who offered those allegations for falsifying his testimony to the FBI. This entire impeachment inquiry is based on an actual, provable individual who has lied. Now, responsible leadership would withdraw an inquiry based on that. Withdraw it. Instead, what we are seeing is that this committee was warned about the falsehoods of these allegations long before that, warned by Trump's Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and yet they proceeded anyway. The chairman proceeded anyway. This committee was warned by Rudy Giuliani associate right here, Lev Parnas, after that document about the falsehoods of this. Then held hearings where your own expert witnesses said that there was no grounds for impeachment, and you proceeded anyway. And finally, as if none of this was enough, the FBI arrested the individual who was the source of the entire, to quote the chairman, heart of the matter, to launch this impeachment inquiry, and proceeded anyway. At this point, the story is not the fact that the basis of this impeachment inquiry is wrong. The story is why it's proceeding anyway. Why is this committee proceeding based on false charges? And by the way, no charges. I have yet to hear in the chairman's opening the allegation that they are specifically charging the president of the United States with. I'm hearing about Biden family. I'm hearing about this and that. I am not hearing the specific allegation by this committee. What is it? It's not here, and that is the problem. The story is when this committee knew that they were working with falsified evidence. That's the story. And with that, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Chair now recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On March 1st, 2024, Joe Biden stated he did not interact with Hunter or Jim Biden business associates. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into a record New York Post article. Biden insists he did not interact with his
Without objection to order.
We're going to go fast here. I have strictly yes or no questions. On that note, the New York Post article, Joe Biden also said, read the record of every single witness. So I did. I first read Devin Archer's deposition, and he interacted with Joe Biden. Then I read the transcripts of Wab Walker, Eric Schwerin, George Burgess, Kevin Morris, Tony Bobulinski, and Jason Galanis. And every single one of them interacted with Joe Biden. And that's just the people we interviewed. Mr. Galanis, my first questions are for you. Did Hunter Biden call Joe Biden with Elena Badarina on the line on May 4th, 2014, yes or no?
Yes.
In that call, did Hunter Biden state on this call with Joe Biden that everything is good and we're moving forward?
Yes, he did.
Okay, on the same call, did Joe Biden in the call was saying, okay, then you be good to my boy?
Yes, he said that as well.
Okay, did Badarina agree to put $20 million into one of Hunter Biden's business projects days later after this phone call?
Yes.
Okay, did Hunter Biden ever take a call from Joe Biden while at the Peninsula Bar in New York?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear them.
Did Hunter Biden ever take a call from Joe Biden while at the Peninsula Bar in New York?
Yes, he did.
During this call, did Hunter Biden update Joe Biden on progress in landing a business partnership with Harvest Fund Management?
Yes.
Okay. Was Harvest a $300 billion Chinese financial services company closely tied to the Chinese Communist Party?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Is Hunter Biden
is.
Is Hunter Biden involved with Harvest?
Hunter Biden is involved in Harvest in two ways, through BHR, which is the fund
Yes or
that,
no? Was Hunter
Harvest
Biden
is the
Biden involved with Harvest? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. As part of the deal,
Extensive emails to that effect.
as
also.
part of the deal, did Hunter Biden want the company to reserve a board seat for Joe Biden?
Yes.
Okay. Did Henry Zhao, a Chinese businessman, want assurances Joe Biden would join the board? Yes or no?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Did
He's
Hunter
expressed
Biden?
that in emails as well.
Okay, thank you.
And
Did Hunter
in conversations.
Biden draft an email stating, please also remind Henry Zhao of our conversation about a board seat for a certain relation of mine. Devin and I golfed with that relation earlier this week, and we discussed this very idea again. And as always, he remains very, very keen on the opportunity. Here is a photo of Joe Biden and Devin Archer and Hunter Biden golfing days before the alleged email draft. Do you believe a certain relation of mine refers to Joe Biden?
I don't think there's any question. It was based on first-hand conversations with Devin Archer, who was in that picture and at that golf meeting.
Did
Yes.
you ever meet with Devin Archer where Hunter took calls from his father?
Yes.
Okay, during one of these phone calls, did Hunter Biden tell Joe Biden that he and Henry Zhao needed help getting, quote, getting across the finish line?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Mr. Bobulinski, do you recall receiving an email that floated the possibility of giving 10% ownership of Sinohawk to Joe Biden through Hunter Biden?
Yes.
Okay, my last questions are for both of you very quickly. Mr. Bobulinski and Mr. Galanis, you both stated you were told not to use Joe Biden's name in communications, correct, Mr. Bobulinski?
Correct.
Mr. Galanis?
Yes.
Okay. Did Joe Biden participate in phone conversations and meetings with Hunter Biden, his business associates, and foreign interests, yes or no? Mr. Bobulinski?
He clearly did. He met
Okay,
me
Mr.
twice.
Galanis, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. In Hunter Biden's deposition, he said he did not involve his father in his business. Did Hunter Biden lie under oath, yes or no? Mr. Bobulinski?
Yes.
Mr. Galanis?
If that's what he said, yes, that would be untrue.
Okay. Is Joe Biden lying when he says he did not interact with Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, their business partners, or forward interests? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Galanis?
Yes.
All right. In a debate on October 22nd, 2020, Joe Biden denied Hunter Biden made money from China. Then Hunter Biden, his business associates, and foreign interests include money from Chinese businesses, business partners, and/or interests. Yes or no? Mr. Bobulinski?
I'm sorry. Did the
Hunter
Biden family
receive
make
money
money?
from Chinese
Correct,
business
yes.
interests? Mr. Galanis? Did Hunter Biden receive money from Chinese business interests? Yes or no?
Yes, he was.
Okay, thank
Yes, he had economic interest, and yes.
All right. Joe Biden
we
has
promise.
repeatedly claimed that he was not involved in Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, or any other Biden family business deals. Today, our witnesses have proved otherwise. Today, we've established Joe Biden lied about interacting with Hunter Biden's business associates. It is my belief Joe Biden is the closer for Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, and their business associates and foreign interests. Good luck to the left proving otherwise. Thank you, and I yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Timmons for 5 minutes, then we'll take a break because we have votes coming up anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At our hearing last July, I laid out the scheme that the Bidens concocted to sell the Biden brand, netting almost $30 million for various members of the Biden family. This scheme was repeated with various clients in Kazakhstan, China, Romania, Russia, and Ukraine. I'm going to spend my time on just one instance, Ukraine, specifically involving Burisma, which netted Hunter over $3 million during a 3-year period. And to clarify the criminal offenses being alleged, for Hunter Biden, it is conspiracy to commit bribery, 18 U.S.C. Section 201 B, 2A, and C. And for Joe Biden, it's conspiracy to commit extortion under color of official right, 18 U.S.C. Section 1951 B2. And if you want a refresher on those, just look up Senator Menendez and his wife's indictment. So let's start with this. Foreign client has a problem. I've got an email here from Vadim Pozharsky, the Secretary of Burisma. And he is advocating that Hunter Biden intervene with high-level U.S. officials to facilitate meetings and communications expressing their positive opinion of Zlochevsky, the president of Burisma, to the Ukrainian president, chief of staff, prosecutor general, with the ultimate purpose to close down any cases against Zlochevsky in Ukraine. This is dated November 2nd. Now, keep in mind, and again, foreign client has a problem. Zlochevsky is being investigated by Viktor Shokin, the Inspector General of Ukraine, and he needs help, the Biden brand. So here we got bank records galore of Hunter Biden receiving, prior to this email, over $1 million. After this email, $2 million. You'll find out in a second he really earned his fee. So again, client pays a Biden, $3 million. Next, what happens? What happens? This is great. 11 days later, we have the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine announcing that Vice President Biden is traveling to Ukraine on December 7th. Ooh, interesting. Vice President Biden travels to the country. Here we got a great photo of him touching down. They're very proud of themselves. So Vice President Biden leverages U.S. policy to achieve a favorable outcome for the client. We've all seen the video. He brags about leveraging U.S. foreign loan guarantees to get the Ukrainian government to fire Viktor Shokin to end the investigation. Again, we've got the email from Podarsky saying that we need to leverage you, who have not provided value yet for your $1 million in service, Hunter. He brings in the big guy. Biden leverages U.S. influence, withholds $1 billion in loan guarantee to fire Shokin. So if that's not enough, we got the victory lap here. We got an email just a few months later saying, whoa, we won in less than a year. You brought us in, so take a victory lap. So look, I mean, this is straightforward. Pay to play. It is bribery. Hunter Biden was paid $3 million at the lowest point in his life. He testified in the deposition that he was drug addicted, that he's never been to Ukraine. Yet he's paid $3 million to get his father to go to solve his client's problem. That is the scheme. Mr. Bobulinski, does this sound like the scheme that you've seen the Biden family do?
I wasn't involved in Ukraine, but the facts surrounding this are very similar to CFC and Romania.
Thank you for that. So this is the thing. If Hunter Biden were here, we would be able to ask him some questions, maybe clear this up. But he's not. He's not here. And what's interesting is that just yesterday, Peter Navarro reported to federal prison in Miami for 4 months for not showing up in front of the January 6th committee. And I want to point out to everybody that the January 6th committee was procedurally defective under House rules. It was procedurally defective because the minority leader did not get to appoint members to that committee. The United States House of Representatives Oversight and Accountability Committee is a procedurally perfect committee. And we have authority to subpoena Hunter Biden, and he has to show up. He has to answer these questions, and he has to tell the world that his father didn't leverage U.S. foreign policy so he would get $3 million. This is no different than what Senator Menendez did. And look, the American people are not buying this nonsense y'all are selling. We must restore their faith in our institutions. And we have to stop this ridiculous two-tiered system of justice where the Department of Justice persecutes President Trump and hides Hunter Biden behind every corner. I mean, this is not the United States of America that the American people deserve, and we have to get our country back on track. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I sat in on the entire 7+ hour deposition that Hunter Biden gave to this committee, and one of the things that stood out to me was his assertions with a rather braggadocious flair of his business experience and his acumen and his impeccable qualifications. He claimed, with quite some vigor, I might add, that he was a brilliant, accomplished, and highly sought-after business commodity. He's very successful, and he had an unparalleled resume that he recited to us chapter and verse to prove it. That was at least the face his lawyers, this administration, and the House Democrats wanted him to wear. Of course, there's another possibility, one that this pesky little thing we call reality, that he was a spoiled, entitled East Coast patrician with a senator and then VP daddy who squandered his many life advantages and spiraled into a decadent behavioral pattern of narcissistic excess and criminal addiction. And to feed his very large carnal appetites, he acted as his family's bagman in an influence peddling and access selling scheme that netted the Biden tribe over $24 million in illicit foreign cash. Lots of money, little effort, in a get-rich-quick scheme. If he was such a skilled and gifted businessman as he claimed, his services would be sought after, in fact, even fought over. Mr. Boblinski, to your knowledge, how many Fortune 500 companies retained Hunter Biden on their board of directors?
Now or in his...
Ever.
I can't confirm any.
Yeah, because there aren't any. Zero. How many energy companies retained Hunter Biden? I'm sorry, how many American energy companies retained Hunter Biden on their boards of directors?
Zero.
Zero, nada, correct. There was one energy company that retained him on their board of directors. Do you know what that name of that company was?
Yes, Burisma.
Burisma, correct. Where's Burisma located?
Ukraine.
Really? That's interesting because, and he was hired actually for no small sum, $1 million a year. Hunter Biden said in his deposition he could bring, and Mr. Chairman, I apologize for laughing, but he said his corporate governance to the table. He brought something far more valuable than his corporate governance. He brought his, in his fictitious business acumen, he brought his daddy with him. You see, Joe Biden just happened to have been given the country of Ukraine in his portfolio of responsibility to oversee by the Obama administration. So let's go over some facts, Mr. Chairman. Fact, Burisma and CEO Mykola Zlochevsky had been investigated for corruption. Fact, in September 2015, then U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Jeffrey Pyatt, specifically mentioned Burisma as a corrupt entity. Fact, Burisma was paying the son of the Vice President of these United States $1 million a year to serve on their board. Fact, December 2015, Joe Biden visits Ukraine, demands Viktor Shokin, the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, who's investigating Burisma, his son's boss, be fired. Fact, February 2nd, 2016, Kyiv Post reports Viktor Shokin won a court order to seize assets of Burisma CEO Mykola Zlochevsky. 2 weeks later, fact, Shokin resigns. President Poroshenko called on him to resign. He resigned. He essentially was fired at the behest of Joe Biden. Fact, 2016, February, 2 weeks later, there's a little email sent from Vadim Pozarsky, COO of Burisma. He's an executive of Burisma. And to Hunter Biden, asking him, hey, Hunter, will you help us out? We want to get the embassy, the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine to say that we're a good company. Now, the ambassador just said they were corrupt a few months prior to that. And then, lo and behold, with the seal of the United States Embassy, they say that we have no negative information or feelings about Burisma. So what changed in those 6 months? It was magic. The power of the vice president's visit when he demands that his son's boss, the prosecutor who's investigating his son's boss, be fired, and he's going to withhold $1 billion worth of aid, actually, I think loan guarantees, if Shokin's not fired. And then Shokin is fired. The embassy says that Burisma is a great company. Our Democratic colleagues would have us believe, Mr. Chairman, that that was all magic, that there was no coincidence here. And with that, I yield the balance of my time to Mr. Jordan.
I appreciate the gentleman yielding. I was just going to point out that Jared Kushner was one of the key officials involved in the Abraham Accords. If we want to talk about influencing foreign, how about the President of the United States, what he said in his State of the Union regarding Israel, and how about what the Democrat leader of the Senate said last week, in that Israel should change its prime minister, for goodness sake. That to me is a concern. Jared Kushner was doing good work with the Abraham Accords. Of course, the Democrats don't want to admit that. I appreciate the gentleman for yielding.
Chair now recognizes Ms. Taylor Greene from Georgia for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joe Biden continues to lie to the American people about his role in his family's businesses. In 2020, he stood up on stage of a presidential debate and told the American people that his family didn't take any money from China. That was a lie. Not only was it a lie, he knew it was a lie. He knew it because he met with his son Hunter Biden's Chinese business associates. I want to talk about CEFC, which is the China Energy Fund Committee. Mr. Bobulinski, who is Chairman Yi?
Chairman Yi was the chairman of CEFC.
Thank you. Jim Biden told the FBI and IRS that Chairman Yi was the protege of Xi Jinping, the leader of China and the Chinese Communist Party. Mr. Bobulinski, Rob Walker told this committee that Joe Biden met Chairman Yi. Are you aware of that? Yes or no?
I am now. I wasn't at the time.
And Joe Biden also met with you, is that right?
Yes, he did. Twice.
Who is Director Zhang?
Director Zhang was the number 2 at CFC.
The executive director of CEFC, the number 2?
Yeah, he was the number 2 executive, but really the point person that I worked with and the Biden family worked with, and he's the individual that Hunter Biden was shaking down at the end of July 2017, demanding that they fund the $10 million. They ultimately sent 5, but $10 million directly to Hunter Biden's account, Owasco.
Thank you, Mr. Bobulinski. I want to show you a text message that Hunter Biden sent to you and his other business associates. I'm holding it right here. I'll read it to you. Hey, Tony, I have an idea. In light of the fact we are at an impasse of sorts, and both James' lawyers and my chairman gave an emphatic no, I think we should all meet in Romania. He's speaking about my chairman. When Hunter Biden came in for his deposition, he said that he was referring to Chairman Yi, and that the rest of your group referred to Zhang as a different chairman. Does this make any sense to you?
That's a lie. I never heard Director Zhang referenced as chairman, and I had direct communications with Director Zhang over WeChat, met him in Romania, met him in Moscow, met him around the world in New York, trying to develop this business, and he was never referred to as the chairman, first of all. Second of all, that makes absolutely no sense in the context of this message because we are discussing Oneida Holdings, LLC.
Thank you. So he was not the chairman, just to clarify. Yes
Correct.
or no? Okay. So I want to show you another text. When he said his chairman, he was talking about his dad. This is from Rob Walker. It didn't seem to make much sense to Rob Walker either. So he said that when Hunter, he said this to you, when Hunter was talking about his chairman, he was talking about his dad. When Rob Walker came in to give his transcribed interview to the committee, he basically said, well, Hunter was high or confused or mad. And Rob Walker said that he was just trying to calm things down between you and Hunter. But that doesn't really answer the question about who Hunter Biden is talking about. Hunter Biden lied to this committee. So here, clearly, he says, Rob Walker's saying he's talking about his dad. So I want to be very clear. We've established that Zhang is not the chairman, obviously. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Correct.
Let me show you another message. This message doesn't call Zhang Chairman Zhang, does it? It just says the Chinese want to do business with the Bidens. As a matter of fact, it says, both coming to be my partner, to be partners with the Bidens, with an S. He, Zhang, is implied, has implied that the number 1 has made it clear and available to him. Who is the number 1?
The number 1 is Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping, the president of China? Yes or no? The leader of the Communist Party, the CCP?
Yes.
Is the number 1?
Yes, that's the number 1 that Hunter was referencing in that message.
Now, let's be very clear. This was in 2017, but I would like to make it known for this committee that Joe Biden told the press in 2016, as a matter of fact, I quote, yeah, I am going to run in 2020. He told the press in 2016 that he was running for president of the United States in 2020. So here is the Bidens doing business in China in 2017 when everybody knew he was planning to be president of the United States. Do you see that to be a serious problem, Mr. Bobulinski?
I do, and I wish this committee would thoroughly investigate it and focus on all the evidence that the SDNY has on CFC. They had FISA warrants, so they were recording conversations, and I wish they disclosed all that data and fact to this committee.
Thank you, Mr. Bobulinski. I yield, Mr. Chairman.